It's Tuesday, June 23, 2009. Welcome to the Board of Public Works, Edward R. Roybal, hearing room. We have quite a few items, and as of this point, we're going to cut off public cards for public comment. We have a full house. My understanding is that Councilmember Weiss will not be joining us today, but we are anticipating Councilman Wisar. What I'll do is go through the agenda on those items that are designated as consent, and seeing that we have speaker cards on some of the items. And I'll be asking those who want to speak, if they still feel compelled to speak, knowing it's on the consent agenda. You can tell by the acoustics in this room, it's not easy to hear individual words. That being said, if you need to have a conversation, please take it outside. Appreciate your courtesy. When a person does come to the microphone, give us your name and address. If you have written an eloquent letter or statement, keep your eye on the clock, because on some items we will go 1 minute, given the amount of public hearing that has already occurred. So I would strongly recommend that you get to your point. And so, as you review your letter, make sure the statement you want to make to this committee is expressed. If you find yourself where everyone before you has said what you wanted to say, you don't have to repeat everything. You could say, I agree with the previous speaker, and then add anything new for this committee. So that would be highly recommended, so that we can get through this committee process as efficiently as possible. We've been joined by Councilman Wisar. Welcome, sir. We'll go through the agenda. Item 1, we do have speaker cards in item 1. But on that one, I understand there's an amendment by the council office. Now let me ask the council office, are you ready with that amendment? Can you state your amendment? And I'd like for the persons who submitted cards, if this amendment satisfies their concerns. If it does satisfy their concerns, we can move to adopt the action. If they don't, then we will hear them out.
Sure.
Can you please give us your name?
Lisa Trifoletti on behalf of Councilmember Jack Weiss. What is before you is a motion to initiate a survey and study of an area near South Carthay to establish an historic preservation overlay zone. This is only the first step. It only initiates the study to see if the area would even be eligible for an HPOZ. And the amendment that Councilmember Weiss would like you to consider is that because Olympic Boulevard is the only major boulevard included in the original boundary area, and many neighbors along that stretch oppose being included in the HPOZ, Councilmember Weiss has asked the Plum Committee to exclude those properties currently abutting the northern side of Olympic from the study area.
Okay. So the folks who have submitted cards, we just heard from the office that they're going to omit the properties on Olympic Boulevard. By raising your hand, can you please tell me, do you still feel compelled to speak? Raise your hands, those who submitted cards. Do you still feel the need to speak? Okay, we'll call it special then. All right, item 2 we can adopt and forward to council seeing no speaker cards. Item 3, we'll refer to the planning department seeing no speaker cards. Item 4, we'll refer to the planning department in consultation with the CAO. There are no speaker cards on that item either. Number 5, we can note and file inasmuch as the report is submitted for informational purposes, and there are no speaker cards. On 6, we can move on consent, seeing no speaker cards. 7, on which one? Okay, on 7, we'll call special. There's an amendment we anticipate from the council office. That was on consent, but we're going to call it special. Number 8, we do have speaker cards, and that one is also on consent. On 8, you don't need to speak?
Yeah, she thought him over. Go back.
On 8, we'll call special. Number 9, this one we will continue to July 7th upon request of the council member-elect. We have several people here to speak on this item, so this will be continued to July 7th. That's number 9.
Somebody else. Yeah, do you want me to submit
Number 10, we have speaker cards on that.
your card or not? I know
Number 11 as well.
you also want to submit yours.
12,
There is somebody else. Yes. 14. Okay. I know what the devil.
will be special. 13, we could deny the appeal inasmuch as the applicant has withdrawn the application.
The correct action is to receive and file because the application was withdrawn, not the
Okay.
appeal. So
That's,
it's receive and file.
just want to do the right thing.
All right.
Receive and file, all right. 14, we'll call special. 15, we'll review today and anticipate this in city council on July 31st.
Yeah, at the request of staff, the date for council has been moved to the 31st.
Okay.
And that's for everyone in attendance, so that they'll
Okay.
know when to attend the meeting.
All right. I don't believe we have the director's report today. And that was 16. And 17 will continue to July 7th. All right. So that is the agenda for today.
The 15 still on for today. We're gonna,
Yeah.
we have cards, right?
Yeah, we have cards at 15. So, let's dig in, Roberto. Let's start.
The first item, Councilman, is a motion Wise Wesson. Again, it's directing the planning department to initiate the study for an HPSC Carthay Square in CD5.
So we have a brief staff report, please, on this. Item number 1.
Well, it's just a motion.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you give us the Reader's Digest version?
The Reader's Digest version is that this is the initial stage. It's a motion that's been introduced by the council office, and it should be a refer to staff. And we understand that the amendment amends the boundaries, and so we'll take that into consideration.
Okay, so thank you. So this initiates the process. Those who wish to speak on this item would like to come to the microphone. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Ailes. I'm a property owner at 1238 South Hayworth.
Can you speak into the microphone? I can hear you better.
Richard Ailes, property owner, 1238 South Hayworth. I'm not affected by the amendment.
I'm sorry. Folks, can you please take your conversations outside? It's hard to hear the speaker. Please take your conversations outside. Mr. Ailes?
Again?
Yes.
Okay. Richard Ailes, a property owner at 1238 South Hayworth, and I'm not affected by the amendment that was just adopted or proposed.
Okay, you're not affected, and you're still concerned.
I'm affected by what remains of the proposed HPAS district.
Okay. So this will give you the opportunity to engage the process since we're just initiating this.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the councilman who initiated this process is a lame duck, because the vote of the neighborhood association that requested the councilman to initiate accumulated no more than 30% of the total vote that was permitted, and because that council's office proposed or suggested that they were prepared to financially underwrite the survey, and I do not believe that's forthcoming, and the vote was solicited on that basis, I would ask this committee to defer, to refer it back to the councilman-elect for decision as to whether or not to proceed.
Mr. Ayers, the new council member-elect will have several options on how to respond to his constituency. He could always take a different action should he decide to take that course. So out of courtesy to the process and to the existing council member, we're going to continue listening to the public hearing, and then we'll make our decision. Thank you. Anyone else feel compelled to speak?
Kristen Lahner from Sorrell Associates, 320 North Larchmont Boulevard. Seeing no opponents to the amendment at this time, I would be comfortable removing some speaker cards, which I think might help you. Mine, Carl Arnold, Dan Schaefer, K. Smith Morrissey, Michael Wish, and Susan Schaefer.
Repeat that one more time.
It's Carl Arnold, Dan Schaefer, Carl Albert, Dan Schaefer, Susan Schaefer, K. Smith Morrissey, and Michael Wish.
And they agree with the amendment?
They support the amendment, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Councilman would move that we adopt as amended by the district and move this forward to council.
Second.
That'll be next
What is
committee.
ready?
What did you want to speak to?
Yeah, I want to speak in opposition to this HPOZ.
Well, please give us your comment. We just acted, but go ahead.
Okay, you've acted already, have you? Oh, you haven't. Okay, my name is Adrian Dove. I own a property at 1031 Hayworth in the zone, and we're strongly opposed to it. Only 33% of the people voted to do it. Those, and therefore, a majority is opposed to it or either didn't vote. And those who were proposing it went to the lame duck councilman and got him to put this in to carry it in this extraordinary way. We'd like to plea not just to defer it, although that would be the last resort for a decision by Mr. Koratz, but to reject it and send it back for a vote, because HPOZ costs the homeowners a lot of money and requires a 75%, should have a 75%, not a 33%. So we would like to ask if you would send it back.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that takes us to item number one. Next item, Roberto?
Oh, I can tell you.
I believe it's item 7, Councilman, and it's a proposed general plan amendment for 6 lots in CD5.
Okay, can get the staff to come forward on this?
Good afternoon, Lynn Harper with the Department of City Planning and the Valley Geo team. You have before you a general plan amendment that's been approved by the City Planning Commission, sent to the mayor, and the mayor has also concurred in his approval of the amendment. It is my understanding that it's in CD5, and the council office is proposing to amend the amendment today.
Okay, so we have an amendment. I believe that's the only card on this one, Beverly Kenworthy or Lisa.
Hi, again, Lisa Trifoletti on behalf of Councilmember Jack Weiss's office. Again, this proposed general plan amendment was initiated by Councilmember Weiss to correct an inconsistent general plan designation and zoning for 6 lots within the Encino-Tarzana Community Plan. We have worked with the community and the property owners to craft a compromise solution and settle an outstanding legal dispute about one parcel, 17634 Weddington, which is one of the 6 subject parcels in the proposed general plan amendment. Therefore, Councilmember Weiss proposes the following amendment, that the general plan amendment before you expressly exempts all zone change applications filed prior to July 15th, 2009.
Okay. Now, I need to call you up to the microphone again, Ms. Harper, but is this change consistent, and have we had that discussion between the office and
Yes, the change is consistent and the staff supports it.
okay, okay, so that'll be, to move on consent with the suggested amendments, Councilmember?
I believe you have one speaker card on this item.
I believe that's the only one
Is that right?
yeah,
Okay, all right.
that was the only one.
Okay.
So we can move and second on that one?
Second?
Okay, with the amendments, thank you very much. Next, Roberto?
It will be item 8, Councilman, and this is a report from the West LA APC. It's a zone change relative to conditions, modified conditions of approval, and it's in City 5.
Oh, CD5 is real busy, huh? Okay. Staff, please, on this one? Have staff report on this? Okay, let's, we'll come back to that. Next item?
I believe item 9 has been continued, Councilmember. You indicated there were speaker cards.
Right. Item number 9.
Right. It's going to be continued, but I don't know if those speakers...
Well, we are going to hear it today,
Okay.
and it's been moved to City Council on July 7th. That's my understanding. I'm sorry, this is number 9, right?
Right. I believe it's continued in Plum, Council.
Okay, continued, all right. Now, we do have several, and I already took care of this, so let's go to the next item.
Okay. The next item, Councilman, is item 10. I believe you also have speakers cards, and it has to do with a zone change in CD9, and it's for a mixed-use project.
Do we have staff for this one?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, good afternoon, Henry Chu of the Planning Department. I was the hearing officer for the CPC case. We had a public hearing for the case on February. We had the City Planning Commission in April. The City Planning Commission unanimously approved the project. There were no one opposing the project, and staff is here for any questions.
Okay. Barbara, did you have any cards on this one, on 10? Because none show up on my...
I think there is a card that says 9 and 10, so it'll be in the...
Okay, that's why we marked it.
Yeah. And I think you have a stack for 9, matter of fact.
Okay, that was, Ms. Trifoletti, District 5. Maybe she got carried away. Well, this was on a consent item, so we'll move on that. Single cards.
There's one additional card for 9 and 10.
Okay, number 8, are you here for number 8? Okay, so action,
1, 8. Okay.
okay. Item 10 was consent. Now we're back to item 8,
Okay.
knowing that, yes.
Charlie Roush, Planning Department staff. I'm here on behalf of Gordon Hamilton. 8 needs a technical amendment because the applicant changed the project according to the conditions that were approved by the West LA Area Planning Commission. So all that needs to be done is to change the date on the site plan, and here's Mr. Hamilton to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, hi, Gordon Hamilton from the Planning Department. This is a zone change, RES 4 from C2 parking on Sepulveda, just north of National,
48 units, 5 stories. There is mixed support for the project. Some opposition from residents who are immediately behind the project just because of privacy issues. But for the most part, the neighborhood councils and others have supported this zone change. It is at present a vacant lot used for parking for the IHOP, and will produce new development with a mixed-use ground floor commercial of 1,500 square feet. When we reviewed this, we didn't really have a problem with the project other than 3 things. The first one was balconies looking over the single-family homes on Bentley. It's been a long-standing practice of the planning department not to allow balconies. So that was one of the conditions of the report. The other issue was a loading zone with 48 units. 38 of them would be 2-family units and the rest would be single-family. There was some concern about loading for residents moving in and moving out of the property, in addition to the commercial loading of the 1,500 square feet at the ground floor level. And the third issue was open space, and the applicant didn't meet the requirements for open space, so we just simply stated that they needed to provide the required open space per the code. This went to the APC. The APC supported the staff recommendations and was approved. Subsequent to that, I have met with the applicant, and he's given me revised sets of plans which address all of our concerns. So we're happy with the plans and would like to substitute the plans that are in the file with a new date-stamped set of plans dated June 18th.
Okay, so the new set of plans as well.
Right.
Now, the only card that I find here is from the council office.
No, that's right.
Yes.
The applicant has declined to speak, so he doesn't want to speak.
I'm sorry?
The applicant does not want to speak.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, Lisa Trifoletti again on behalf of Councilmember Weiss. You're going to be sick of me today. This project enjoys widespread community support. The West of Westwood Homeowner Association, the immediate neighborhood to the north and to the south and the east of the alley, and the West Side Neighborhood Council all supported this project, and we are very proud that this project came into compliance with the APC recommendations. So we ask for your support.
And Mr. Trifoletti, we will never be sick of seeing you or hearing you. I know how hard you work, and the staff in general, for every council member, so kudos to you in trying to get these projects to the place that they're at today, so congratulations. Okay. So, we can move on consent here with the recommended changes.
Second.
Second, thank you, sir. Next, Roberto?
That would be item 11, Councilman. It's communication for the North Valley APC. It's a zone change. It's proposes to demolish a bowling alley and the construction of a retail center in CD12.
This is item number 10.
11, Councilman.
11, okay.
Just before we go on, Councilmember, I hate to interrupt. On number 8, since there was an amendment, we're going to approve as amended,
Yes.
as opposed to consent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good answer.
Good afternoon, Councilman Reyes. I'm Dave Silverman, staff on this case from the Planning Department. The North Valley Area Planning Commission on December 4th, 2000, also Councilman Huizar, good afternoon. The North Valley Area Planning Commission on December 4th, 2008 approved staff recommendations for a change of zone on this site to parenthesis T, parenthesis Q, C2-1 for a new 32,122 square foot retail center consisting of 4 buildings, including 2 drive-through fast food restaurants, with some minor changes to staff's proposed conditions of approval that was suggested at the North Valley Area Planning Commission meeting by the applicant. What was changed from the staff's recommendations were they substituted code-required parking instead of 179 parking spaces initially submitted in the queue conditions. They changed ingress-egress language for vehicular access onto and out of the site. And they substituted in the environmental mitigation conditions, item number 14 under public services schools, any adjacent public or private school for the name of the school on the subject property west of the site. There already is a school there, and apparently that site has changed several hands, so that's why we left it sort of generic. The North Valley Area Planning Commission also adopted the environmental clearance case number ENV 2008-1581 MND, and adopted staff's findings, including site plan review findings. The Area Planning Commission also adopted staff's recommendations to advise the applicant on the 6-year time limit to effectuate the City Council adopted zone changes. Now, I'm asking that there be a couple of corrections to some things in the T conditions that were basically errors on my part. Number one, there should be a parenthesis T added at the top of the T condition page prior to the words conditions for effectuating the tentative classification removal. And number two, in the next paragraph down, after, in the sentence where it says pursuant to section 12.32G of the municipal code, the words or bracketed T should be removed because this is a parenthesis T, parenthesis Q situation. Now, the new proposed retail center requires demolition of the Rocket Bowl bowling alley, which was built in 1962. Now, historic preservation consultants hired by the applicant determined that the bowling alley building, designed in sort of a Googie style of architecture, was not qualified to be listed on any city, county, state, or national historic register, so the building is not an historic site. The property is currently zoned MR2 and P-1, but the Chatsworth Port Aransas Community Plan's land use designation for the site is general commercial, highway-oriented commercial. Now, the existing bowling alley use is being eliminated. So the AMF, which is the lessee, they're pulling out all their equipment, and apparently no other bowling alley is going to go into that site. So you do have a general plan existing zone conflict on the site, because the only use that could go back in there is a bowling alley because of the MR zone. So the applicant's request for a zone change to parenthesis T, parenthesis Q, C2-1 over the entire site is the appropriate solution for the proposed new retail center. Also, the C2 zone is a corresponding zone under the land use designations in the community plan. In addition, the Chatsworth Neighborhood Council submitted a letter of support for the site dated October 12, 2008, for the proposed center with its Spanish style of design, other design features, and the parking layout. Also, the council office supports Neighborhood Council's position on the proposed project.
Thank you, sir. We have two cards. We have Christopher Murray and Phyllis Swinger. Phyllis, got to speak first? No? Okay. Mr. Murray? Christopher Murray.
Good afternoon. Chairperson Reyes, Councilman Huizar.
Good afternoon.
Christopher Murray on behalf of the applicant and property owner. I wish to just express our support of the project, obviously, and in appreciation of the City Planning Department and Area Planning Commission's report. I did, however, have a couple of minor changes that I submitted to the council, and hopefully that has been distributed to your desks. A couple of minor items with respect to some proposed revised T conditions, just for cleanup purposes, and to add a specific Bureau of Street Lighting condition, just so that it's very clear when we go to effectuate the zone change what the actual conditions are to clear that. And then the other item, based on the Area Planning Commission's recommendations for, in particular, closing a driveway and also a 2-foot dedication, we had a minor revision to our site plan. We wanted that to be incorporated into the final decision so that the Exhibit A's matched up, so that, again, when we went to clear the conditions of approval to effectuate the zone change, everything was squared away.
Thank you. Ms. Winger, can you please speak to these recommendations and make sure yourself and the staff are on the same page?
I did review the changes proposed that you just reviewed, and they are in conformance with the original approval and seem to blend and augment. We have no issue with them and are comfortable incorporating them into the final decision, if it is appropriate to do so here.
Okay. Thank you. So we could approve the zone change with recommended changes as articulated by the applicant, and no big action of this committee. Have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roberto, next.
It will be item 12 and 12B, since they're interrelated. 12A is the proposed general plan amendment and zone change. It's for the construction of a proposed city park. And 12B is the appeal filed by the Westwood Library Gardens.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, council members. Christopher Kuntz from the City Planning Department. The item before you involves a 12,500 square foot piece of land that the city began the acquisition process on November 16th back in 2005. We were able to finally get a hold of and fully acquire the site in February of 2007. At that time, the Department of Recreation and Parks began work with the community and the council office to come up with a future park plan for the site. Towards the end of that process, city planning came into the picture and we processed a zone change, plan amendment, and conditional use for the development of the park. That was approved a few months ago by the City Planning Commission and is now before you. We feel the creation of a neighborhood small park adjacent to a city library facility furthers all the plans of all the policies of the community plan and will be a great benefit to this community. There is, however, an appeal. It surrounds just a few points to go over so briefly. The first having to do with notice and posting. The notice and posting has been reviewed by planning and city attorney and it's proper. There's a concern regarding odors. There's two issues here. The trash cans, there's a mitigation that those can't be adjacent to the residential property line, so that's one. And two, the restroom is enclosed and that should be sufficient on the odors issue. As far as public services, this is an infill site. It can be served by all utilities, we verified, and it's adjacent to a city library, which actually allows us to do joint programming, and the library has expressed interest in doing children's programs and outdoor reading activities in this future park once it's developed. Parking, there's not parking required for this facility. The site plan includes the word amphitheater, which isn't an amphitheater where you would have theater. It's a couple rows of seating area that's outdoor and is cement where you could have, for example, story time, and it does not require parking. While it's unfortunate we weren't able to get everyone in the community on board, we feel that there is sufficient consensus and that the project represents a huge public benefit to the Westwood community.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Ron? Okay, thank you. Stay tuned. We'd like to hear from the appellants, those who have appealed this project. Can you step forward and give us the reason for your appeal?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kate Paradise with Cox, Castle, and Nicholson. We represent Westwood Library Gardens, which is a nonprofit organization that was established to work with the city, and they conducted a needs assessment to evaluate the feasibility of building an active park versus a passive one. You have a copy of our written appeal documents. I just wanted to point out three things. Number one, the MND was inadequate because it didn't even consider the parking and traffic impacts that are certain to occur from having this amphitheater use. Second, I know Mr. Kuntz referenced the noticing of the Planning Commission hearings, but our position is that the hearings were not properly noticed and a draft version of the CUP was not distributed as it should have been. And then finally, to say that this park design represents a consensus of the community is not exactly accurate. There were a number of voting irregularities at the Park Advisory Board meeting.
Continue, please.
At the Park Advisory Board meeting, and the Westwood Library Gardens park proposal, which would be for a more active park use with perhaps a cafe or a building to house a bookstore for the Friends of the Library. That proposal actually enjoyed significant support on the advisory board. So, Thank you for your time.
Now, this is a pocket park, correct?
Correct.
And how big is it again?
12,000.
12,000? Okay. Okay, anything else?
No.
Is anyone else on the appellant side? I don't see anybody else. Okay. All right, folks. We'll go through the cards and keep our eye on the clock. What about Rioff? Or Rioff? Are you here? Okay. Okay, this does cut off public comment. Switch over to A and B. And then we have Michael Gabay, I believe. And then we have Molly Rose Merker. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello. I'm here. My name is Lila Ryath, 10870 Wellworth Avenue. I'm here as a representative of the Westwood Homeowners Association. This project lies within the boundaries of our association. I have a packet of letters for each of you. The one on the top is written by the president, the past president of the Westwood Homeowners Association, and also the current president. I also have letters from neighbors. I have letters from a representative of Fairburn Elementary who was unable to attend the meeting, who wanted to vote for the open park plan. We are opposed to the appeal. We want this park to be built as it was designed by Councilman Jack Weiss as a reading oasis. We do not want a building there. We want it to be built as designed by the city. And we welcome this park. We hope that you will support that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Michael Gabay, then Molly Rose Merker, and then we have Sandy Brown.
My name is Michael Gabay, 10862 Wellworth Avenue. Our house is directly across from this project. I'm here to express my strong opposition to the appeal, where the alternative would be a large construction of a several thousand square foot building in a residential area.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Molly Rose. And then we have Sandy Brown. Hello, Molly.
Hi, my name is Molly Rose Merkert. I live at 10870 Wellworth Avenue. I'm opposed to the appeal. I want this park to be built as designed by the city. About 4 years ago, I was at the dedication of the library. As a Girl Scout and as a student at Fairburn Elementary, I want an open park with lots of trees and benches to sit on it while reading books.
How close do you live to the park, Molly?
I live right across the street from it.
Right across the street. That's pretty nice. All righty. Well, thank you for coming. It's not too often I get a person as young as you and as articulate. So congratulations. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Sandy Brown, and I'm president of Holmby Westwood Property Owners Association, but I'm here as a member of the advisory committee for the park. I would like to support the City Planning Commission's decision. I think a lot has been said about it. It was totally aired. The design of it, the kind of park that the community wanted was all aired in the various meetings that we had regarding the park, and I would ask that you deny the appeal and support the park and send it on to council to be granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Okay, we have Joyce Foster, Philip Debolsk. I apologize if I butchered your name there. Lisa Landworth, and then Cecilia Riddle. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, Joyce Foster, 10572 Wilkins Avenue. I strongly oppose the appeal and support the city's park plan. As a member of West LA Area Planning, I can tell you for many years, I can tell you that our city, our Westwood area needs open space, a place to commune with nature, a place for children to sit, adults to sit, and not another building. So I would strongly support the planning staff's and the Park and Rec's proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. And Philip, that's D-E-B-O-L-S-K-E. I don't want to mispronounce it again.
My name is Philip Tobolsky, and I'm partner with Lisa Landworth at Landworth Tobolsky Associates Architects for the Westwood Library Park. I want to support the design that we created for a passive open space park for the benefit and the use of the library patrons and the surrounding neighborhood community. In our city, which is becoming increasingly more dense, it's important to create these community pocket parks. Here's an opportunity to have an open space that benefits the neighbors, as well as provide an additional educational component for the users of the library. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, Lisa Landworth. I did call Cecilia Riddle from the Library Department, if you feel so compelled to speak. But,
Okay.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, committee members. I'm Lisa Landworth of Landworth Tobolsky Associates. We're an architectural firm. We were approached last summer to help design a pocket park for the site at the corner of Glendon and Wellworth Avenue. It was purchased by the City of Los Angeles about 2 years ago. The initial idea for the park was to provide an outdoor space for reading and learning for the neighborhood and the library. Open space pocket parks are particularly important to Los Angeles since the Los Angeles area has the smallest ratio of numbers of people to square footage of parkland of any other city in the country. Our intention was to design a communal park conducive to small social gathering, educational purposes, sensory experiences, and an opportunity to interact with a natural environment. The design was dictated by the site conditions, discussions with the Westwood Library Park Advisory Board, and neighborhood requirements and city regulations. Our designs strive to follow the path of sustainable ecological design, incorporating features such as native and drought-tolerant planting, social energy, water recycling, and recycled materials.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Next speaker. Good afternoon, Ms. Riddle. Then we'll have Patrick Kennedy and then Neil Goldsmith.
Good afternoon. Cecilia Riddle from Library Department. I just wanted to say that the library has been in support of this, developing this open space that's adjacent to our library. We have 72 libraries across the city. A number of them are adjacent to parks and provide the library staff with a lot more opportunities to do programming, and for schools that come, classes that come to visit, to eat their lunches outside. And it would be a very nice amenity in this neighborhood because we have a lot of high rises and parking lots and things that are adjacent to us right now.
So it's right next door.
It's right south, it's adjacent to the library.
Adjacent,
now.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
an empty lot with a big fence around it, and it's not attractive, and we'd love to see some green space and some reading.
Well, that was a very clear image. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm Patrick Kennedy with Department of Recreation and Parks. First, I'd like to thank the Council Office for their hard work, patience, and effort in developing this design of this park. I'd like to state that the Department's Commission voted unanimously to approve the design and zone change, and that the Department believes that this is the best use for this property.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your work. Our last speaker is Dale Goldsmith. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, honorable committee members. I'm Dale Goldsmith, 10940 Wilshire Boulevard. I'm a partner in a small law firm within walking distance of this proposed park. I think this park is going to represent an oasis, a green oasis in a sea of concrete. I look forward to the opportunity of being able to have lunch in a nice open setting, and urge you to reject the appeal and propose and approve the project. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we have before us request to approve a general plan amendment and zone change, and we could move on that, Councilmember, and that would be 12A, and then 12B we can move to deny the appeal.
So moved.
That'll be the action of this committee. Thank you very much. That takes care of 12A and B. Our next one, Roberto?
It would be item 14, Councilman, and this is an appeal by Jeannie Plum and Gary and Marina Levitt. They're appealing the action of the Planning Commission, which approved a conditional use for a secondary and elementary school athletic fields in CD 12.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Councilman? Councilman Weezer, Councilman Reyes. Tom Glick, City Planning Department, Valley Office. This project went to hearing. It's a CPC case. It's a conditional use for an athletic field in Chatsworth at the end of basically DeSoto and the Simi Valley Freeway. It was proposed by the applicant Sierra Canyon Foundation as an athletic field primarily for their high school. It was approved by Planning Commission on January 22nd. The determination letter went out in April and it was appealed. But I'm here to state that Planning Commission's action, I'll be here to answer any questions related to Planning Commission's action, the conditions of approval, or address the points of appeal, but I would recommend that the appellant come up and present their points of appeal, and I'll be happy to address them, unless you want me to address them here.
No, let's hear the appeal, and then we'll get back to you if we have any questions.
Great.
Okay, so can we call up the appellant? I believe it's Jenny Plum. We have Philip J. Hess as well. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you. Jeannie Plum, 10755 DeSoto Avenue, Chatsworth. I am doing part of my appeal. Mr. Hess, my representative, will be doing a second part.
Okay.
I'd like to bring to your attention, first of all, and you can follow along in the grant, the issues that I have. First of all, on the site plan, I'd like it to be said that the equestrian trail must be approved by the city and in use before Phase 2 is begun. This committee approved several equestrian trails on the high school. None of them are in use. This committee specifically asked that they be used before the high school opened. That has not happened. Next, I'd like to request that on the equestrian trail, LAMC 86.06 A and B be enacted, which prohibits any vehicular traffic on the trail. Next, in my appeal, I mentioned that the project compliance report omits the public completely. Only the Department of Planning.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Is included. And without the public included, we have no clue as to whether there is compliance or not. So we would like that added. Next, I would like to mention that the high school is prohibited from coming east of DeSoto by their conditional use, and this application flies in the face of that conditional use. This application cannot negate any of the conditions that this council has approved on the high school, so that is in conflict. And in addition, I was just handed at this moment a new condition from the school, which first I have not been able to study, but again flies in the face of the existing elementary school and high school conditional use that's on the record, sir. One conditional use cannot negate the conditions of another. It's an end run from the school to use this property as a adjunct parking lot and brings the very traffic that the EIR said should not come through my neighborhood. You realize that these schools are on different sides of main streets. I'm sure you remember, Mr. Reyes. And this condition completely sabotages my neighborhood's peace and quiet. The elementary school has adequate parking, as the high school often testifies. It also has an adequate, huge athletic field. And this athletic field is not for use from the elementary school. Please keep my neighborhood intact. I'd also like to finally request that this committee recommend to the council that the Planning Commission has failed to identify all of these conflicts and to send my concerns back to a new hearing in which all of these conflicting conditional uses be resolved.
Thank you, Ms. Plum.
You're welcome.
Next speaker, please, on behalf of the appellant.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Philip Hess, 155 South Hudson Avenue. I represent Jeannie Plum. I want to point out one particular issue in her appeal, which is that this application is legally improper. And I have a 1094.5 writ proceeding all ready to go on this because I don't expect the council will change the outcome on the administrative level. This is an application, Mr. Glick said, for an athletic field. That's correct, but it was filed as an application for a school under 1224 U24. The municipal code defines what a school is. A school is an institution that offers instruction in the several branches of learning specified in the education code. And the education code lists several branches of learning: English, math, physics. One of them, but just one of them, is physical education. Now, the school and Mr. Glick have said in their various reports that this qualifies as a filing for a conditional use permit as a school because physical education will be offered there. Assuming that's true, that's only one subject. The municipal code requires instruction in several subjects. Now, this is not an idle, abstract issue of nomenclature. If you look at the use proposed here, it properly is categorized under 1224U19 as a playground or a recreational facility. Those uses may only go on in the open space zones. So this property, if you want to put an athletic field there, either has to be rezoned as open space or a variance has to be applied for. And obviously, the findings, the burden on an applicant for a zone change or a variance is very different from the rather easy findings that you get under a conditional use filing. That's the problem with this case. The community is being deprived of their proper protection under the code and the zoning resolution.
Okay,
They're going to have an athletic field foisted on them without any of the findings being made for that use. On that basis, I think the application is improper. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, great. Okay, so that covers all the appellants. Ms. Winger, would you like to speak first or last? Okay. Okay, I have other cards here. I'll call your name, so just be patient with me. I just recognize those who have identified themselves as appellants. So now I'll go through the public hearing cards. We have Maureen Levitt and Gary Levitt. Please come on up. The word, Mr. Glick, I'll get to you soon enough. No, let me finish the cards.
Yes, okay. Councilman, whoops, I'm not that tall.
There you go.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
We're also appellants, my wife and I.
Oh, you are, okay.
We're the other two. That's why I was jumping up and down and waving.
I got you.
I'm sorry.
My apologies.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Gary Levitt. I live at 10946 Independence Avenue, Chatsworth. That is the second house south of the proposed athletic field. And, I think Mr. Glick summed it up in 2 words, which is in conflict with what we see. He mentioned that this was originally made a application for an athletic field for the high school. And if you read the latest version of it, it is a mixed media of trying to combine both the elementary and the high school and use the same field for both purposes. The other thing, as Mr. Hess pointed out, is having an athletic field that has its own CUP when actually it's part of the high school. It's more appropriate to have it as part of the CUP of the high school, so that way it would be unquestionably consistent with the rules of the high school. As my wife and I went through the paperwork and looked at the existing CUPs for both the high school and for the elementary school, we saw a contradiction after contradiction from what is requested for the new CUP for the athletic field. For instance, as an example, it talks about findings says up to 1,300 students, which is mathematically incorrect. The elementary school allows 700 students, and the high school allows 550 students. Calculating that out, that's 1,250. That's obviously incorrect, and probably just a typo. One of the other things with respect to using this as a mixed purpose, one of the issues with having both the elementary school and high school in such close proximity was to keep the two schools segregated, which, as Jeannie had pointed out, was one of the reasons that the rules were for all of the parking for the high school to be east of DeSoto and all of the parking for the elementary school west of DeSoto, just to minimize impact on the community. And this is sadly different. If you look at the high school's CUP, and I'll read a little bit, relationship to Sierra Canyon School at 11052 Independence, which is the elementary school. Students enrolled at the Sierra Canyon Secondary School shall not attend classes or participate in sporting events or performing arts activities at the elementary and middle school campus of the Sierra Canyon School located at 11052. And vice versa. Furthermore, Sierra Canyon Secondary School bus program serving Loreline Avenue shall be separate from any program operated in benefit of the students at the elementary school. Again, this was to minimize the impact of having 1,150 students in that close proximity to a rural community.
Thank you, sir.
It goes on and on.
Okay, well, we got your point there, so
Okay.
thank you.
So I will leave you, well, I'll let my wife talk. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Maureen Levitt, 10946 Independence Avenue, Chatsworth. We're recommending that we remove all the references to the elementary school from this playing field conditional use permit and instead have the high school CUP cover the entire thing because it's part of the high school. There's been a proposed pedestrian gate on the west side of this project. That gate, right now, it would not allow people to come into that side. Pedestrian gate on the west side of the field would only encourage parents and students and visitors to enter the field, park in our community, and enter the field from the west side of the property. Presently, they can't control the people, the traffic, the jaywalkers as it is in that area. They have trained guards out there, but there's just, the parents are going to do what the parents are going to do. People come and visit, they park where they see, oh, they're close by. So we should not have any pedestrian parking and no pedestrian gate or any other gate on the west side. There's no need for it. Everything should be entering from the DeSoto side. The special events in this conditional use permit conflict with the ones that are in the two existing ones. The secondary school has 10 special events, and then it has 29 extracurricular and school events. There's 29 of those. The elementary school has 22 special events listed. That's already 61 events between the two campuses, not including the ones that are in this CUP. That's an awful lot of events. By adding any more, you're putting a really incredible burden on the community. It's not acceptable. Community relations, there's been a history of problems with events at the school. There's no one to contact. You finally contact one 3 days later, and you can't resolve the problems. To be consistent with the secondary school, CPC, that would be your high school, I'd like to add a condition. I have the verbiage here. It comes straight out of the high school CUP.
Do you have this in writing? I'm sorry, do you have these conditions in writing that you are appealing? Do you have the conditions in writing? The conditions you are appealing?
I have that in
Okay,
writing.
do you want to conclude your statement? Because I think we get the point of your appeal. Do you want to conclude your statement?
Pardon?
Can you finish your statement?
This state, you want me to read the what
No, we don't need to go through each one. We understand your point.
There's only one last thing I wanted to comment on, and that's the public address and paging system. I want to reinstate the wording from the Department of City Planning recommendation report. It omitted the third option, which was to omit the current amplified signal shall not be audible beyond the boundaries of the subject site, and that would be in the same conditions that are in the playing field for the other site.
Thank you, Ms. Levitt. Thank you very much.
I want that reinstated into this one.
Please, okay. Thank you, Ms. Levitt. Okay, our next speaker? No. They're supposed to be, but just give it to the clerk there. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we have other cards. Jim Scrumbus and then Greg Taylor.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Scrumbus. I'm the head of school at Sierra Canyon. I'd ask you to deny these appeals. We're a K through 12. We are a school that is building these fields in an isolated area. We've had over 17 public meetings. There's no organized opposition to this. The one residence that shares the property line is fully in favor, shares the property line with the project, is fully in favor of it. And as far as the K through 12 usage, this is primarily going to be used for our middle and upper school athletics and physical ed programs, yoga classes, that kind of thing. But on occasion, we would like the opportunity to bring our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders over to play a flag football game or to have a PE class. And so that's why that language was included. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have, but this is a project that we're proud of, and as I said, it's beautiful green space that is isolated and it really impacts no immediate neighbors.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker.
Thank you. My name is Greg Taylor, representative for the applicant. Basically, just like to address a couple of the points that were made. With respect to the satellite parking and rental and not being west of DeSoto, that was before the school acquired this site, and that referred to rental places that they might come up with for special events. And this, of course, resolved that issue to a certain extent by having this additional parking. In addition, we have submitted a proposed revised parking condition, which I believe you have before you, which basically would allow the major special events at the elementary school and at the high school to be able to use the parking at this site with no concurrent events. There couldn't be anything going on at the site. This confusion came up because of graduation that just occurred, and they used the site for parking, which was perfectly legal. They had permits from the city, but there was no conditional use in effect anyway because of this appeal. But the bottom line is we were trying to avoid any confusion. There's a parking lot here with 90 spaces in it, and we should be able to use it for the other events. In addition, with respect to the classes, the school also plans to have yoga classes, art classes. There would be possibly botany classes. This is a 12-acre site, 11-acre site. The westerly end, it's going to maintain a lot of the new vegetation and that type of thing. But certainly it goes beyond PE as far as that goes. We fully agree with the two corrections, the 1,250 students and the other word error correction. As far as the pedestrian gate goes, the school should be able to enter from the west side. We've had much discussion in 13 community meetings about this. We offered to put a driveway in there with a gate that the community could open and close to cut through. They decided they didn't want that, but the vast majority wanted to have just the pedestrian gate, and the fire department wants emergency access only.
Well, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your statement. Okay. Ms. Winger, Mr. Glick, who wants to go first?
Gentleman first.
I'm sorry, we're speaking on another item? No, ma'am, please. Mr. Glick.
Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start on the conditional use point, or do you want me to...
Start where we can get to a decision as efficiently as possible.
Well, it's hard to do that because I really don't know what the appellants are ultimately asking for here. They really didn't make a conclusion other than one appellant, and let's start with that one, said that they did not want this site used for elementary school purposes. What I will make very clear on that was the applicant originally filed for this as for an athletic field for the high school. They came to the public hearing in November, said they were also going to use this as part of the elementary school. Did not make they made that very clear at the public hearing. We renoticed a limited public hearing for commission based upon the fact that they now added the field to be used by the elementary school. That was considered by Planning Commission in January of 2009 as part of their action on this.
So that was added on?
That was added on, and a limited public hearing was
commission.
Because of that, yes.
Okay.
So we addressed that point at commission. The conditions reflect that request for the elementary school. No concurrent events can be done at the field at the same time. In effect, all the applicant wants to do, because it's 50 feet away from the elementary school, this field, is to be able to have the school use it at certain times. There's not going to be an organized event.
Okay, but I want to be on the record in addressing some of the concerns. So I want to make sure our response is clear to these assertions. Ms. Plum asserted that there was a set of conditional uses that were acted upon,
okay,
and now there's another direction as a result of today's actions that contradicts or is going against the purpose and intent of previous conditional uses. Can you address that point?
Yes. Well, when this was not a new issue. This was brought up at my hearing.
Say that again?
This is not a new issue brought up by the appellant. This is an issue that was brought up at the November hearing. The attitude and the response to that is that this is a separate site. This is an athletic field that is being used by the schools, in that time, the high school. It has its own separate conditions, none of which conflict with the conditions of the high school from 2005 or the elementary schools conditions. They are designed, they're operational conditions for the field only. They do not conflict.
So these are separate plots altogether.
Exactly.
Different geographic locations.
It's different geographic locations.
So the conditional uses of the past do not apply for those reasons.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to make sure we're saying that for the record, because I want to address these inconsistencies.
It's not only in the record, it's in my staff report to commission and commission's action. It's part of the
Are there
findings.
any other assertions that speak to inconsistencies that we should be made aware of?
No, I addressed any inconsistencies when I reviewed this project in my recommendation report. There were, in my mind, no inconsistencies. The applicant brought up the horse trail as an issue, but that is a separate issue as well. So
okay.
The applicant has agreed to improve the horse trail in front of their property, and as part of this, they have volunteered to agree to improve the horse trail on the portion of the property, the Varial Trail next to the elementary school. So voluntary conditions actually came out of this. The applicant can speak to that too.
Okay. Any questions from the council member on this one?
No.
No questions. Okay. That clarifies for me the concerns I had based on what the appellant was asserting, so I appreciate those responses. Councilman Huizar has no other questions, so I'll ask Ms. Winger if she'd like to come to finish up the presentation so we can take appropriate actions.
Thank you again, Honorable Planning Committee. Phyllis Winger, representing Councilman Greg Smith. We supported this project at the commission hearing where it was approved with the addition of the use of the field for lower school in certain situations. From our point of view, that hasn't changed. We supported it then, we support it now, and are very comfortable asking that the appeal be denied and the original approval by the commission be sustained.
Okay, so we would deny the appeals and sustain the planning commission's actions. Have a second on that, Councilman?
Second.
Okay. Sir?
Councilman, just wanted to make sure that the revision to the parking condition that your committee would consider that.
Did Mr. Glick have that in his report?
Three things, I'm sorry, I was talking. Three things on the applicant submitted a revised parking condition. There was an issue, and I'm just going to bring this up real quickly. The applicant made reference to it. The high school, as part of their high school graduation this year, used this site for parking. There was no stipulation against it because, in fact, the conditional use was appealed. If this conditional use was not appealed, then there would have been a condition in effect that stated that the high school could not use this site for graduation purposes. It only could be used for the athletic field purposes. So a graduation could not use, the high school or the elementary school cannot use this parking for a remote parking lot. There is a condition in there. But since this was appealed, the applicant wants to revisit that condition to be able to allow them to use for special events the high school to use this parking for
Okay, so let's do this. We will move this item to council. You speak to the applicant and the council office and have the appropriate verbiage to allow for the conditions that you are speaking to, unless you're telling me it's already in there.
No, it is not already in there. But the applicant is requesting that it be added.
Okay, now can we add this now, Madam Attorney, without having to wait?
I submitted the language for your committee to consider. There's several copies of it with the secretary.
For the record, Sharon Cedar of Cardinal City Attorney's Office, you can recommend amendment of the commission action to add new conditions. And if you have the exact language, you can read them into the record or identify them as an exhibit.
I have a modified condition number 14 that's on your desk. And in addition, I just heard the applicant make some suggestion about the number of students. Are you requesting any modification to that? And I don't know if Tom addressed that issue.
There was just an error in adding the two schools together, and they came up with 13.
Okay. So it's really a clarification of operational condition 2A, which states, and this is the way it was written, that the exclusive use of the field shall be for the high school only. There should not be a private entity like a carnival using this site. So there is a confusion here. We just want to make it clear in the conditions that if the applicant has a graduation, that they can use this parking for parking purposes.
And the language introduced clarifies that?
Yes.
Okay. So we're comfortable with the language that has been introduced?
The planning department is comfortable with that.
Okay, I want to make sure that's the case. So that being said, we can move to deny the appeal and support the planning commission's report. As qualified.
Okay.
That will be the action of this committee. Okay, then a second. Our next item, Roberto? Roberto, I need you to read this slowly. What we're going to cover, I want the community and the folks that are here to understand the nature of our actions. And if you can do it in Spanish, you'll get brownie points.
Okay, I'll try.
But please, slowly, because I want the folks here to understand the role of this committee on this action.
Okay.
So take it slow.
Sure. What's before you, council members, is an appeal that has been filed by the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Association, and they're appealing the action of the East LA APC, which sustained the underlying decision of the zoning administrator's approval of a variance, which is for the construction of a grand entrance to the existing building. What's before you is only the variance. The conditional use and the other entitlements are not before the committee's consideration.
Okay, now can you say that in English?
I did.
Okay.
I think I was.
Can you paraphrase it? Can you paraphrase it?
In Spanish.
Well, try it in Spanish. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. El asunto que está en la consideración del comité es la decisión que hizo el comité del este de Los Ángeles y tiene que ver solo con la construcción de la entrada al edificio que está construido ahí. Los otros asuntos de alcohol no están en la consideración del comité hoy.
So, nomás nuevamente estamos discutiendo nomás lo físico, lo que quieren construir frente del edificio. No estamos haciendo decisión si van a permitir vender alcohol o no vender alcohol. Nomás es para permitir, si es lo que vamos a decidir, un cambio físico en el edificio nomás. Nomás quiero prevenir que vamos a escuchar temas que no pertenecen a este comité en este momento. Nomás los quiero informar, porque vamos a dar un minuto por cada persona y ojalá puedan usar ese minuto para tratar la tema de los cambios físicos del edificio. So I just want to be I'm just reaffirming we're not reviewing the alcohol license, we're not dealing with alcohol issues, we're not dealing with the sale of alcohol, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the physical improvements that's being proposed by the applicant. That's it. So why don't you go ahead and give us the report.
Thank you for your clarification. That's what I was going to clarify as part of my presentation, but it was all interpreted very well. Thank you so much. Switching with the City Planning Department, as all of you may know, this El Mercado market has been on the site since the early 1960s. And this site has a multiple zone designations of C2, R3, RD 1.5, and P zone. This El Mercado market has a main building and 3 parking lots, one adjacent to the main building and 2 across the alley and a little bit off from the adjacent parking lot. The access to this El Mercado market is very, very confusing and very ineffective. That's why this applicant plans to renovate the existing building by improving the building facade at the northerly entrance and to renovate the existing restaurants on the 3rd floor. This application included a conditional use application to upgrade the existing beer and wine license to a full line of alcoholic beverages for on-site consumption. Also, conditional use component included not only alcoholic beverages, and also it included live entertainment and dancing. As you clarified in English and Spanish, this conditional use component of this entitlement approval is not subject to this appeal. So only appeal before you today is a variance portion that allows a building facade at the northerly entrance that will include office space and retail space and walkway that contains approximately 2,500 to 3,000 square feet overflow area. I read the appellant's statement in the appeal package. Most of the issues are related to alcoholic beverage consumption. I didn't see any issues relevant to this subject appeal that deals with a variance that we granted for a building facade improvement in a P zone. This improvement of a building facade will not only improve aesthetics of the project, but also will improve pedestrian flows in and around the premises and the parking lot area. The issues, again, the appellant brought up in this appeal are related to the sale of alcoholic beverages, which are irrelevant to the granting of a building facade improvement in a P zone. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the appeal, and I'll be available for any questions you may have. Further, the staff respectively request the continuance of a City Council date, which has been scheduled on July 7 to July 14, if it's possible. So, applicant also sent us a letter consenting to support any council action on or before July 31st. So just for your information, your staff has the letter from the applicant. Thank you so much.
What's the reason for continuing from the 7th?
The continuance is I have the family emergency on that day, so staff will not be available on July 7. Thank you.
Councilor, any questions on our staff?
No.
Okay. All right. We have quite a few cards, and I'd like to ask the appellants that are on file to come forward. And so we have, I believe, an appeal filed by the Borough Heights Stakeholders Association. It's been identified as Nadine Diaz, the appellant. Like to come on up, please, and give us your reasons for the appeal on the physical side of this issue.
Am I on a timer as well, or?
I'm sorry?
Am I on a timer?
No, go ahead and make your appeal, but just consider the fact that we have a huge stack, too.
I hear you.
Okay.
My name is Nadine Diaz, and I'm a fourth-generation constituent of Boyle Heights and East Elaine Incorporated. My address in Boyle Heights is 120 Chesbros Lane, Los Angeles, California, 90063. in East LA. The Diaz home is 3967 Hamel Street, LA, California, 90067. I'm a clinical social worker, a documentary filmmaker, and I've been a community organizer for over 25 years. I'm also a delegate for the California State Democratic Party since 2002. I come from a family of health professionals, and my father, Anthony Diaz, is a doctor of pharmacy and also a medical doctor who specializes in anesthesiology. I'm here as a concerned constituent and property owner for the area of Boyle Heights. I'm the founder of the Boyle Heights Stakeholders Association, which has approximately over 200 residents in both Boyle Heights and East LA and Incorporated. The El Mercado is situated at 3425 East 1st Street. It opened up in 1968, specifically September. I recall that day. It was a great day. And it's actually one block west of the East LA unincorporated area. Now, the reason for the appeal in regards to your point of direction, construction, is that there is a long history of non-compliance, specifically by the current owner, Mr. Rosada, who I believe took ownership in around 1987. Since his ownership, unfortunately, the concept of the El Mercado has not been quite the same. Things have changed. Without proper permits, housing has been depreciated, which affected the quality of life for the children, the families, and the seniors. The reason why we are appealing this today is because of the lack of history of non-compliance. I have for you, I can give to you, zoning issues that go all the way back to 1962. Other members here can speak about the non-compliance, specifically the building and safety. 33 permits that have not been taken care of since 2000. We have public health hazards concerns, and in regards to allowing him to build another structure without really looking to find out if he's met prior conditions, which he has not, it's not conducive to allowing this to happen at this time. Now, what we recommended to Councilman Huizar before January 31st, 2008, was to have a community forum so that there could be input from both sides. Unfortunately, that never came to fruition. The residents did not have enough time to give input. They're working class people, and we all are concerned about the quality of life. And I wanted to state for the record the reason for why not at this time we should grant this. There has not been a traffic study, no current EIR, no floor plan, no blueprint plan, no plot plan, no design plan whatsoever. Everything came at the last minute, and I don't believe that's proper planning. We have schools in the area, churches, we have the Evergreen Jogging Path, which people use in our community for recreation, exercise, socialization, because Boyle Heights, as you know, is a working class community, and there are very many poor people who live there. We also have the metro line that's going through there. And I know you said not to mention the alcohol, that's another issue, but it's going to affect the quality of life.
Thank you, ma'am.
This is the long list of zoning history of the El Mercado. Every case number is here. It is imperative and legally imperative that conditions have been met for all of these case numbers that I'm going to present to you. All of them. And then lastly, at the last East LA Area Planning Commission hearing on February 25th, the President Terry Marcus submitted new information that pertained to LAFD, building and safety, public health, and that should have been in your documents in your file for this hearing. We hope it's there.
Thank you, ma'am. So who else will be part of the appeal? Who else has been named in the appeal?
I'm sorry, Councilman?
Okay, so we have with us other folks who are also part of the appeal. So we go 1 minute, so we gave you quite a bit of time there.
Yes, and letters of support from Senator Cedillo, Supervisor Gloria Molina, Community Coalition, also LA Voice Talpa, LAPD, and the coalition is growing.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we want to keep our eye on the clock. We have 1 minute. We'll call the next group of people, and I'll call up your name. We have...
Hello, my name is Ruben Murillo. I'm a Boyle...
Sir, I'm going to ask you to sit down so that I can call up the next set of speakers. We have Luis Gauch. How about that? Ruben Murillo. And then Marquise Harris Dawson.
Hi, my name is Louise Gulch. I live at 320.5 North Lorena Street, 3 properties north of the El Mercado. I made a mistake and I strongly oppose the appeal. I strongly support El Mercado. I have seen the numerous improvements they have made, how they have struggled and have met with the willing neighbors who have attended the meetings to comply with all these regulations, with all these requirements. I strongly oppose this appeal because as long as I have lived in the neighborhood, this organization has never contacted me or my fiance, who is the property owner, where I live at 320.5 North Lorena. As a handicapped neighbor and guest of the El Mercado, I would like to see this appeal denied so that the El Mercado can meet the ADA, the federal ADA requirements. So I thank you, and I hope you will consider that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So Ruben Murillo.
Hello, my name is Ruben Murillo. I'm an executive board member of the Boyle Heights Stakeholders Association, and I'm here to actually ask you to consider the fact. Point of order, I'd like to ask Mr. Huizar to actually remove himself from this hearing because of the fact that he's actually sent at the East Los Angeles Area Planning Commission as a commissioner. So I cannot count on him to be an unbiased person.
So I need to focus on the matter in front of us.
Okay. The matter in front of us is, I respect the opinion of some of these folks that actually say that they support El Mercado, but bottom line is, he's got 69 conditions he hasn't complied with. We added 5 more at the Planning Commission. You could add another 100 and he still won't comply. At what point do you enforce the law? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, for the record, I sat on the East Area Planning Commission 6 years ago. I was not involved with the East Area Planning Commission on this matter. There's no conflict. Thank you.
Next speaker from Senator Cedillo's office. We don't have a name, but we do have a card submitted by representative from Senator Cedillo's office.
Hello, my name is Ruben. I'm here to read the letter from Senator Cedillo. He is actually
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, this is out of order. This is out of order.
Please sit down, sir. I'm looking for the representative.
If there was a representative from Mr. Cedillo's office, they could read it. I'll actually read it into the record if that is appropriate at some point today as well.
You just submit that. Barbara, can you pass it over to the council member so you can read it into the record?
Sure. I'll be happy to read this now or after the public comments. Dear Councilmember Reyes, I understand that the Boyle Heights Stakeholder Association has appealed the zoning variance and conditional use permit for El Mercado to your committee. This appeal is in reference to the East Los Angeles Area Planning Commission decision to sustain the zoning administrator's approval of a variance to construct a grand entrance attached to the existing building. It is also my understanding that a CUP was denied to allow sales of a full line of alcoholic beverages in the westerly portion of a proposed sports bar, but that the East LA Planning Commission approved a CUP to allow such sales in the easterly portion of the existing restaurant. The Boyle Heights Stakeholders Association has cited El Mercado's past history of excessive noise, loitering, and parking issues that should be taken into consideration before making a determination. Please consider whether El Mercado has operated in a responsible manner and has been responsive to its neighbors' concerns.
Well, thank you, Councilmember. Marquise Harris Dawson, I'd like to come on up. Monica Harmon, and then Anthony G. Diaz.
Good afternoon. Granting this would be like rewarding bad behavior. You know, Ed, you know me, and Jose, I've been active in Boyle Heights since the 70s.
There is no major organization in Boyle Heights that has come out to support this. None. My organization, the Community Action Team, has people from the Boyle Heights Historic Society, Boyle Heights Neighbors Organization, Boyle Heights homeowners, and these are active. LAPD doesn't support this. LA Times just did a story on the pedestrian safety in that area. I mean, before anything moves forward, all we're asking is that this owner, who I want to put on the record, Jose took money from for his campaign donations, money speaks, gets into compliance. Do things the right way. Get into compliance first, straighten up those code violations, and then, do it. And most importantly, the biggest criticism from the community is that there was absolutely no community support. Thank you.
Okay, I want to remind folks, the focus and the action of this committee is on the variance that's being requested, the variance. That's the focus of this committee's work. Thank you. I'm assuming Marquise Harris Dawson is not here. Okay, we'll have Anthony G. Diaz. Sit down, sir, please. Sit down. Thank you, sir. Anthony G. Diaz.
That's my father. He was unable to make it here today, and his message is to please rethink and regroup and reevaluate and work together with both the residents and the businesses to make it a better place.
Thank you, ma'am. Rita Guevara Rodriguez and Teresa Marquez.
Good afternoon. My name is Rita Gomez Rodriguez. I live at 203 North Indiana Street. I am a property owner and a resident. I represent the Boyle Heights Stakeholders Association, the property owners that live on the North Indiana Street, Elma Street, and the businesses that are on East First Street and on Cheeseboro. A lot of the owners are senior citizens and cannot come. They do not want the El Mercado family restaurant to have adult entertainment, 2 dance floors, sports bar with 4 liquor license. They want a better quality of life for their children.
Ma'am, that's not being asked for.
Yes, but well, all of us know that the building that would be built would probably lose some of the business or parking spaces.
Well, they're asking for a stairwell and an elevator for handicap. That's
Yes.
what they're asking for.
Okay, but they need to submit a plot plan, floor plan, so that the community can see. Also the...
Okay, I just want to be clear, we know what we're doing here, but thank you very much.
Okay.
Rita Guerrero Rodriguez, Teresa Marquez. Good afternoon.
My name is Teresa Marquez, and please do not get that hard on me because I'm going to stop talking.
I'm sorry?
I get really stressed out if you're going to talk to me the way you've been talking to everybody else.
You do have 1
So
minute,
please.
ma'am. You do have 1 minute.
One of the things I live at 3122 East 3rd Street, very close to El Mercado. And basically, the changes that he's made have been without permits. And like the first speaker said, there's been a lot of changes. He's renovated a lot, but does he have permits? That's a big concern for the community, is how safe is this building with all the changes he has made. He has 33 building and safety permits that he has not complied with since 2002. That is a concern of the community. In regards to the full liquor license, we have, what? Tell me.
Ma'am, this is about a variance.
Okay, the variance is that he's completed everything into a parking lot there. That does not comply with the rest of the neighborhood. Okay, he has 32 lots with different addresses that he's converted.
Thank you, ma'am. Margarita Jimenez, Johnny.
Thank you very much for making me so nervous.
Thank you, ma'am. Margarita Jimenez, Johnny Young, and I believe it's, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, but it's from Fiestas Patrias Ecuatorianas. Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Margarita Jiménez
Mucho gusto.
y vengo a apoyar al Mercadito del Este de Los Ángeles, donde yo he vivido 35 años ahí cerca de él. Y yo veo que las personas, los dueños, han mejorado mucho el mercado y quieren nuevos proyectos para el bien de la comunidad. Yo ahora tengo un pequeño negocio ahí y he visto cómo nos visitan de diferentes razas, de diferentes clases de personas y se van muy contentos. Entonces, los proyectos que se hagan para mejorar el mercado es para que nos visiten más personas. Ahora que está la economía tan baja, necesitamos más visitantes.
Gracias. Thank you. John Brown. Okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I think it says Gerardo W. Borfar. It's with the Fiestas Patrias Ecuatorianas. Okay. Gabriel Buena. Señor.
Councilman Reyes, Councilman Huizar, Gabriel Buena, Executive Director of Plaza Community Services. We have different childcare centers near El Mercado. We've met with Mr. Rosado. I think in this time of need, the investment going into the grand staircase and the elevator is very important. Several of our parents shop there. The Mercado is involved, and we support granting the permission for the staircase and the elevator, and are opposed to this appeal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ricardo Gomez. Juan E. Castellanos. Then Elba Barros. And then Maria Luisa, and I believe it's Vega or Vera. Good afternoon. Let's have this.
I'm here to support.
Can you speak into the microphone?
I'm here to support El Mercadito. I will believe that I will enhance the image and make it more accessible, especially to elder. My mother frequently shops there, and I'm sure she will be benefited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very succinct. Elba Barros, Maria Vera.
Greetings to you, Councilmember Reyes and Councilmember Jose Huizar. On behalf of the Committee of Fiestas Patrias and on behalf of the Ecuadorian community, we are here to support El Mercadito. Mr. Rosado being very kind with us, and we've been always getting the support. We support the stairwell, the elevators, and the improvement that they need to make. We believe we will create more tourism and we will help to all the communities a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maria Luisa Vera, I believe, and then Jenny Provencio, and then we have Rene Chavez.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. We strongly oppose the appeal, and personally only because I was raised there, and I grew up, and I can only just go to the market and get all the things that my mother needed to cook and do a good, and they have preserved that, and I think it's not only a historic market, and I really have nothing but praise for anybody that does the changes that they're doing now. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Jimmy Provencio, Rene Chavez, and then Teresa Marquez.
Good afternoon, Jimmy Provencio. I'm the sergeant in charge of the Hollenbeck Vice area. And basically, Council, I was here to discuss I was asked on behalf of the Boyle Heights Stakeholder Association to come here and just to introduce a couple of stats involving crime in the immediate area and alcohol-related issues. Will I be allowed?
Okay.
Sir, this only has to do with the variance, and we've heard these at the Area Planning Commission. The zoning administrator has heard these over and over. We know the situation is bad there, and we know we have to fix that. We're all in common ground about that. So I think if we just stick to the plan that this is a hearing about the variance, and we allow this to happen, it wouldn't be fair to the others who we are not allowing them to speak on this part of the original application. So I would ask that our officers speak simply on behalf of the variance and not on any other issue.
Are you focused on the variance?
No.
Then let's stay focused on the variance. That's what this is about.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Renee Chavez?
Hi, my name is Renee Chavez, and if we are just limited to speaking about the variance, my biggest challenge is that how does this particular project get all the way to Plum without having plans? Was not at the East LA Planning Commission, was not actually presented with the planning department. So all of these documents, we actually requested this information. It's not available. It wasn't there. So I'm questioning process. More importantly, I have been involved personally with respect to zoning, conditional use permits, zoning variances, all of this nonsense for El Mercado since 1994. My family's history predates that. They were, along with my godparents and several other community members, they were actually the initial partners that actually made the El Mercado. By the way, that partnership actually closed illegally, and so my parents never got any benefit from that. That notwithstanding, the original building is 3 stories and has subterranean parking that we can't get anybody to acknowledge. So my challenge is this, unfortunately. Well, you guys don't follow process. That's all there is to it.
Thank you, ma'am. I do want to say for the record that I did review plans. I'm not making this decision based on hearsay. I did review plans. I did see a report. And so plans were submitted, and my understanding that those plans were made available during the public process. That's my understanding. So I did review plans. I did see them. So I'm making an informed decision here today. It's not just because I want to vote on this because of some objective reason. I did review plans. Okay. Teresa Marquez, Abraham Paez.
Teresa Marquez spoke already, sir.
You did? Okay. Then I have Oswaldo Pacino. You already spoke, ma'am? Thank you very much.
2 cards.
I know you only can speak
On
once.
public speaking.
Okay, then I'll wait for you for public speaking then. Okay. Abraham Perez,
Councilman Reyes and Huizar. On behalf of the residents of Starter Courts, we're here to deny the motion. We're here definitely on behalf of Mercado and the improvement that he wants to make it easier for the elderly ones that do frequent his place. And so we are in full support of El Mercado. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Osvaldo Pacino, and then Cesar Calderon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Reyes and Jose Huizar. I'm here to speak on behalf of El Mercado and against the motion at hand. I represent Estrada Courts, and I recently I visit the place quite often, especially that now my parents were here visiting from Mexico. My father actually used to come over here was in the U.S. back in the 70s, and one of the things that he said, well, this place has changed so much, yet it lacks, access to us. My parents were already 80 years old, and it was really hard for him to go down the stairs and to get around. And also some of the residents at Estrada Courts, which is the community for which I work, have expressed the same concern. So I think some of the changes they're trying to implement will be great for this place, and it will benefit all the residents and the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Cesar Calderon, and Levitt Chavez.
Good afternoon, Council Member. Yes, I'm Cesar Calderon, represent Soledad Enrichment Action. We service hundreds of families who attend and visit El Mercadito, often on a daily basis and often on the weekends. And we think that the approval of the grand entrance and the elevator would be a great thing to do for economic development reasons, for cosmetic improvements. So we oppose the appeal.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Levitt Chavez, Claudia Okay, thank you. Claudia Montaño, Mercedes Rosado, Hector Plasencia, and Jesus Moreno. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon.
I'm sorry. Can I speak?
Your name? Yes.
My name is Claudia Montaño, and I am here in support of El Mercado. And I just wanted to state that I've been going to the Mercado since I was a child. That's a total of 25 years. Over the last 25 years, it gives me a great sense of pride to see all the improvements that have taken place in the Mercado. But not only there, all of East LA in general has improved tremendously. And that's a great advantage for us because we're attempting to work together to comply, especially with this issue at hand. And we're here to create a safer, community-friendly environment and just create more jobs in this economy. So I'm in support. Also, I have a letter from one of the neighbors. Would I be able to
Just submit it to the record, please.
summarize it?
No, just submit it to the record.
Okay, thank you.
Mercedes Rosado, and then Hector Plasencia, and Jesus Moreno. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Mercedes Rosado. I'm here as representing El Mercado as General Manager. I would like to speak on behalf of my parents who are here today and are the owners of El Mercado. I would like to give you a little bit of history. Several of the improvements that have been obtained at El Mercado were obtained with variances for conditional use permits, and we've been reviewed by the Planning Department 5 times over the past 10 years. Each time, the hearing officer has found that we are in substantial compliance with the requirements and conditions from the city. Our plans to update and upgrade El Mercado include a new grand entrance that is architecturally attractive and will improve the north facade of the shopping center. It will also provide a handicapped accessible entrance. Currently, the only elevators are freight elevators, and they're located in the loading zone with the recycling and the trash compacting. We feel that customers with disabilities or strollers, wheelchairs, and walkers would be better served with a dedicated public elevator. In addition, the proposed grand entrance will move late-night customers that currently exit along an open walkway to an enclosed walkway.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, she is the applicant, or do you have another person? Is the applicant, one of the applicants can speak for longer than 1 minute, just as the appellants could speak longer. Have you chosen that one person to say you or somebody else?
I'm speaking for both of my parents, and Rob Catherman is here as representing as a land use specialist.
Okay. One person can speak more than 1 minute, so if that's either you or Mr. Catherman, either one, that's okay with you, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Okay, as the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I only have a little bit more. I was going to say that the proposed grand entrance will move the late-night customers that currently exit along an open walkway that's adjacent to the residential area. It will move it to an enclosed walkway that leads directly into the parking lot. Our alcoholic beverage control records show that we have never been a problem location, and despite being located in a high-crime area, we offer a safe and family-oriented shopping and entertainment venue. For these reasons, as well as our record of compliance, I am confident that approving our new grand entrance will be a positive thing for El Mercado as well as the surrounding community. Thank you. May I submit the proposed grand entrance, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Hector Plasencia, Jesus Moreno, and Stephanie Ontiveros.
Good afternoon, committee.
Good afternoon.
My name is Hector Plasencia, and I'm here to support El Mercado. 5617 Via Corona, East LA. And I'm here to support it because my grandmother frequents the place, and it's very difficult. She's 80 years old, and I think it's very difficult for her to maneuver, and I think this is obviously going to help the senior citizens as well as the disabled people that frequent the place. And, for them to oppose this will be depriving handicap and senior citizens to be able to go to the Mercado. So I'm in favor of going forward and being able to have a grand entrance and an elevator so they can go there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jesus Moreno, Stephanie Ontiveros, and then Ramon Rojas. Good afternoon, sir.
It's my wife, Maria. I'm Jesus Moreno. Ladies, gentlemen, we are missionaries, Catholic missionaries, and we are visiting people in East Los Angeles and Boyle Heights for about 20 or more years. Knowing these people profoundly make us know also the places they like to go to gather as families. And one of those places is El Mercado. They like El Mercado because it's a safe place and a respectful place. They would go with their people, the kids and elderly. These elder people and other with physical,
limitations.
Okay, needs, yes, would receive gladly those improvements. That's why we support the plans of El Mercado's trying to do for improve for these people, like elevators and also the facade, all that things. Okay.
Okay, and your name again? I'm sorry.
Huh?
Your name?
Jesus Moreno.
And Maria.
Maria Moreno.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Stephanie Ontiveros, Ramon Rojas, and Marcelo Smith. And Martha Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. My name is Estefania Ontiveros. I'm here representing Hermandad Mexicana Nacional. Hermandad Mexicana Nacional is a non-profit organization, and I want to state that Mr. Rosero has always support non-profit organization. As representative, I want to state that we support the improvements he wants to make at the Mercadito, and it will have this investment will have two benefits. One is the people with disabilities can go to the Mercadito easier, and it will bring more jobs to this economy. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker, please. Come on up.
I'm sorry?
The next speaker.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Marcella Smith, and I'm going to make it brief. I'm not going to provide you with my resume. The only thing relevant to this matter is that I'm a business owner, and I think here in downtown, and I think that any time a business owner tries to improve, I think it's beneficial to society. Now, El Mercado, I believe, would benefit greatly from handicap access. Currently, they have poor handicap access. My mother's in a wheelchair, and I have to go through the freight elevator, and it's very difficult for her to do that. And also the entrance leading into El Mercadito. So I'm for the improvements. I think they would benefit greatly, not only for El Mercadito and to attract new customers, but also for those individuals that are handicapped and have wheelchairs. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ramon Rojas and Martha Rodriguez. And then last we have Rob Catherman.
Good afternoon. My name is Ramon Rojas. We are here supporting El Mercado. We compete with all the regulation of the Office of Environmental Health, as well as of the Department of Building and Safety, the Police Department and Fire Department. We have current permits and license, and we train our employers to compete with the Alcohol, Beverage Control and Health Department regulation. We are inspected several times a year and have the letter grades properly displayed. We do not promote or tolerate any illegal activity and have non-criminal activities on record with the police department to ensure that El Mercado is a safe and family-oriented shopping center. We have a state certificate security, surveillance cameras. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Martha Rodriguez. Sorry? Okay. Okay, let's Ms. Rodriguez, and we'll get your name.
Buenas tardes, señor.
Buenas tardes, señora.
Mi nombre es Marta Rodríguez. Yo vengo en representación también en apoyo del Mercadito del Este de Los Ángeles. Yo soy una trabajadora del mercado y yo pido a las personas que están aquí que quieren perjudicar el edificio, que piensen, que hagan conciencia en todas las familias que trabajamos ahí. Yo soy madre soltera, tengo 2 adolescentes que viven de mi trabajo, del sueldo que ahí me pagan, y yo no vivo alrededor del edificio, yo vivo lejos del edificio. En la noche hay también mucho ruido, música fuerte de los que hacen fiestas, hay balaceras, pleitos y no vivo cerca del mercado. Lo que yo quiero, en otras palabras, decir es que no es el mercado el causante de los problemas de ellos, sino es la área donde vivimos, porque en esta área hay todos esos problemas. Entonces, yo les pido a ellos, por favor, que piensen en todos los trabajadores que de ellos tenemos.
Gracias.
Gracias por dejarme expresar.
Gracias, thank you. Okay. Catherine, you've got your 1 minute, Mr. Catherine. Oh, let this gentleman step up, since I called his name, wasn't there. Come on up, and then we'll get to you. Give us your name and address.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, my name is Ricardo Gomez. I'm a historian and a researcher, and a social also type of person that likes to participate in these wonders of the American democracy, that we all have the right to speak. We should all thank God we live in this country. I have here for the past 45 minutes an amount of accusations for and against the situation of El Mercadito. However, let me point out just two simple facts. We are living in times of recession where we are seeing the worst economic problems that we have seen in the past 80 years. It is only fair to give Mr. Rosado the chance to make the improvements that so many people are complaining for. However, it is indeed an exemplary demonstration that he's willing to put well over $2 million of his own money to make these improvements. The crime situation, the alcoholic problems and all around is a part of this situation that is living right now in that particular area. So we should all try to understand one another, work together, and go forward with the plan. Delays in construction may only mean that delays and jobs being postponed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, last speaker is Rob Catherine.
Honorable committee members, my name is Rob Catherine, 1218 El Prado, Suite 128 in Torrance. Mercedes Rosado basically said everything I was going to say, but much more eloquently. There's a number of people, Mr. Chairman and Councilman, that are here today that did not feel comfortable speaking, but came all the way downtown to show support for El Mercado, and I wonder if I could ask them to simply stand up and show their support for El Mercado, even though they didn't speak. If you could all stand, please. And I'm here to answer any questions that the committee members may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that's about 99% of the people in the room that support this.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that concludes the public comment and closes the public hearing. Councilman, any observations or thoughts?
I just want to clarify. Can I ask the zoning administrator one question? And that is, you are recommending that we deny the appeal and support the improvements at this site?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And your reason for that?
The reason is that this appeal is only for a variance that allows the building facade improvement. Right now, as the community came and testified, the access to the market is really, really confusing and inefficient. I went to the site. Once I get into the market, I got lost. I got lost. I didn't know where I was. And they do not have an elevator. They only have a freight elevator. Any handicapped person will have a very difficult time to go in and out to the site. And I only see the improvement and benefit to the community. Right now, the noise from ramp on Cheeseboro Lane, which is the alley on the east side, that is adjacent to residential dwelling units, a single-family residential. Noises has been constant complaint from the community. This building facade will move the pedestrian traffic from that Cheeseboro Lane. And also the restaurants on the third floor will have a direct access from the adjacent parking lot. We call the parking lot A on the north side. The noise, which has been constant complaint from the community, will be mitigated by this project. And also access to the site will be greatly enhanced. And also, this is not only beneficial to the patrons, and also all the shops and especially for handicap access, is going to be great improvement to provide ADA compliance and efficient access to the site.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I've been sitting on this committee for a number of years, and I don't think this application would have reached us this far under normal circumstances. But we do have a situation where, in my opinion, there is a small number of individuals who live nearby who have had history with this restaurant where they would try to stop it from doing anything. And in this case, as you can see, there's nothing but good things coming out from improvements on this site that will allow for handicap access, be ADA compliant, allow people to better maneuver at this facility, and generally address some of the concerns that people who are opposed to this in the first place, it's going to address their concerns. I jumped into this with as a new council member and so realizing the long history that was here, but in my opinion, it'd be very difficult not to support this restaurant for making these improvements. And any other application would normally go through the normal channels, go up to the ZA, probably be approved there, or even if it's approved, go to the Area Planning Commission. But this is, I think there's some other motivations here. And I would tell the people who filed for the appeal, there was a statement made here that my office didn't want to have a public forum. In fact, my office put together 2 3-hour meetings. We invited other elected officials from this area to be part of those meetings. Some of them participated, others did not. And we did everything possible to have a public discussion about what we could do together to address some of the concerns at this site. Some of them are legitimate, a lot of them are not. But I would just recommend to you in the future that you lose credibility when you make those statements of fact at public hearings. You lose credibility when you tell my office something and something else is really happening. It makes things very difficult for all of us to come up to a solution that we all want. And in this case, I know we all want a better community. I know we all want to improve the situation we have. And we cannot do that if we are confrontational and if we make those statements of fact in the public record. So, Mr. Chairperson, I would ask that we deny the appeal and move forward.
I would second that, and that will be the action of this committee.
Just for clarification, the matter will be in council on the 14th.
Okay. July 14th. Okay.
July, the 14th of July.
I'm sorry?
July 14th.
July 14th.
Yes.
That's what I said. Okay. All right. So that concludes this item. Now, anybody here for public comment? One person for public comment. Please give us your name and address. Ooh.
This is Teresa Márquez. Y les quiero decir a todos aquí que nosotros estamos aquí para que Boyle Heights tenga mejor vivienda. El mercado no lo queremos cerrar. We don't want to close it. We understand the business there and all the people that work there. That's one of the reasons we're here. We're not here to fight El Mercado. We're here to make it better, for him to comply with the law. That's all we ask, Jose. And you had one meeting, and they did not, your office did not give us enough information. You gave us a wrong address, and we ended up at a different meeting. Okay? And your office should have told you that, and you were there, so. But we want the best for the community. We don't want to close it down. But why would you approve a full line of liquor when there's no plan?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Muchas gracias. That concludes public hearing comment. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. This could be the last meeting? Yes?